Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Balcony Chats. We're on episode 5 today, and I figured we would address a topic that hasn't really been talked about too much when it comes to Alberta independence and the upcoming potential referendum. Prosperity Project, or even Alberta 51 Project that I am a part of, or any movement towards independence or statehood has not really talked about it. So I figured let's address it. And we'll start from the bottom up here with the main sports that Alberta cares about. So the biggest one, obviously, being hockey, right? Now, we all know that going forward, I believe that Alberta probably doesn't want to have connection to Hockey Canada after the big scandal that happened, right? It's probably not the best environment or group to be associated with. And this is also why being part of the US would be much better for Alberta. Because all of the programs, Hockey Alberta, U Sports at the university level, the rep levels, the junior hockey would all be falling now under USA Hockey, and all under the development of the US National Team Development Program. So Hockey Alberta, like I said, would now be under US NTDP. All the junior levels would likely fall under the United States Hockey League, and I'm talking like Junior A, Junior B type of thing. And of course, Major Junior, we've already seen the Western Hockey League. There are teams already that are in the United States, even though it is part of the Canadian Hockey League. With the WHL, there's teams in the state of Washington. So that's not really a problem there. We can continue to be part of the Western Hockey League at the junior level. As for, say, baseball, with baseball, we would need more funding for that, because right now we only have teams that are part of the Western Canadian Baseball League, and I believe those could nicely filter into the minor league baseball system at low levels, as opposed to either that or as part of the Northwoods Baseball League. It's a collegiate summer wood bat baseball league. So some of the teams that are in Alberta, or all of them, could become part of the Northwoods League as opposed to being part of the WCBL. Now, if we look at the U Sports in comparison to NCAA, most of our universities would see a big benefit in becoming U.S. schools. And it would be able to increase their funding. It would give more opportunity to athletes to get higher scholarships and full rides to these schools. You would see schools like University of Alberta, University of Calgary, University of Lethbridge, all the major schools here would fall under the NCAA bracket, more than likely in the Big Sky Conference. This is the same conference that Montana State Athletics falls under. Some of these schools in this conference, majority of them don't have hockey teams, but that doesn't mean that the University of Alberta, Calgary, Lethbridge couldn't make up part of that Big Sky Conference for hockey at a Division I level and develop our athletes more. Aside from that, of course, we do have football teams. I believe our football teams here with the universities would be falling under a Division II program, since we don't typically develop football as much as we do hockey. But this would create more reason for athletes from across the United States to come up to Alberta and play as part of Big Sky Conference. Athletics with University of Alberta with the Golden Bears, University of Calgary with the Dinos, just more exposure for athletes, and they would be noticed probably as bigger schools than they currently are, and more recognized on the world stage as well. There are definitely more people who follow NCAA sports than they do U Sports athletics. It's just a simple fact. Okay, so the other thing I want to address is there has been an entertainment-based baseball team that we would love to have up here in Alberta, whether it's at Remax Field here in Edmonton or at one of the WCBL fields that would become part of, Northwoods or whatever. And it's the Savannah Bananas Banana Land baseball team. I watch a lot of their games through YouTube. They do stream them live for free. Something that I don't believe they've actually come up to Canada at all. So Alberta being part of the US would open us up to much more benefit for entertainment purpose, that would be, I think, a great benefit. It would bring in more money, more revenue. Of course, Alberta offers the Calgary Stampede. That's more of the rodeo sports, and yes, those are sports, because you see even on TV it's part of professional bull riding and whatnot, and we could be included on the PBR circuit. Now, if we look at professional sports, Alberta doesn't have a whole lot of pro sports to offer aside from 2 NHL teams. And of course, we have a couple of CFL teams. Now, Calgary Stampede, Edmonton Elks, or as I like to call them, the Eskimos, would very quickly and very easily fit into the NFL. It creates 2 more venues for the NFL to expand to, and it would bring in more revenue for the state of Alberta. That's just a simple fact. And I think there's a lot of people who would like to see a lot of the NFL teams they watch on TV come up here to the Blue Sky City, or to the great city of Edmonton, of course. Aside from football, everybody knows Edmonton is the place to be for hockey. The Oilers are a champion team, best in the West, has been for the last couple years. Potentially a Stanley Cup champion this year if they can come over the hump and beat the Florida Panthers. And we could even be known as the new state of hockey. I mean, Edmonton's been the greatest team. The fans in this city are absolutely amazing all season long. I've seen it for the last 3 years or so. I've become part of that great fan base, and we have a couple of great country music artists that vouch for the team as well. Here in Edmonton, it's honestly, if you're a big hockey fan, Edmonton is the place to be. Now, in terms of what would happen there wouldn't be a whole lot of change in the NHL. There would be no realignment. Both Edmonton and Calgary would be part of the same division that they're currently in the Pacific Division. The only difference is that, obviously, at the games, you would not be hearing the Canadian anthem anymore unless they are playing a Canadian team. It would be mainly the Star Spangled Banner, which, in my opinion, is the greatest anthem in the world. The other thing that would allow for is potential conversation to be part of Major League Soccer. I know right now there's Toronto FC, Montreal Impact, and the Vancouver Whitecaps, I believe it is, in the MLS. There is no team currently in Alberta that is part of that league, and I think with being the 51st state, there would be good argument as to become part of that and also increase the athletic revenue to the state of Alberta. To me, it's a no-brainer. Another thing is the amount of tourism dollars that it would bring into the state as well. This is because right now, obviously, to come to Alberta from any other state, you need a passport, and things are much more expensive being part of Canada. And I believe there would be much more openness and willingness from fan bases and fans of other hockey teams from across the United States to come up here if they knew it was just another state. They didn't need a passport and travel was not so much of a hassle. Well, all right. That's about all I have for you today. Reminder, link in the description for NordVPN. Get 3 months free on me. That is a benefit to you to keep your personal information and security safe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers.